Hi, it's Brenda from the Goddess Complex LLC. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be discussing the occult dolls, vessels, curses, and the guardians across magical tradition. These are the voodoo dolls versus the poppets. Even though in the magical realms they get along, some of you guys need to know the importance and also the seriousness of using a voodoo doll versus a poppet. Poppet more cultural, voodoo doll more indigenous. Some people don't know the seriousness, especially with voodoo doll versus the poppet. Only those who are priest, priestess, or a high priest or high priestess status. Those who are ordained to practice certain forms of mastery of magic. Also, those who are voodoo priestess. Normally, the heaven ranks, the heaven high rank. That means you got other ranks plus what runs in your bloodline. Then people who practice hoodoo and voodoo, because voodoo is a religion just like hoodoo is a practice based off of voodoo and something similar, especially down here in the South. Versus the poppet. The poppet more familiar, and also popular with the witches, warlocks, and other different forms of magic based in the certain parts of the foreign territory, especially over in Europe. Whereas the voodoo doll is very indigenous, very bloodline based, especially those from the islands and the Caribbeans, from the motherland mainly. Even those who practice hoodoo here, which is a southern form of voodoo or southern form of African American practice of magic. Seriousness with both of them, these can really hurt people if you use it improperly, but these can, most importantly, if you're not ordained to practice, can hurt you. The thing is about the voodoo doll, it's more indigenous and ancestral, so it's a little bit more on the okay side for us to use more often versus the poppet. The poppet is supposed to be used against enemies only, attackers only, hurters and harmers only. That's what they're used for. Even though people have other different magical uses for them and other different things, they mimic the human body. They mimic certain portions of an average person's life and connection to God, the earth, the universe. Is also alchemy based. Whereas voodoo doll is more so, like I said, ancestral and divine. Even though the poppet can be used divinely, not someone that's divine. The poppet more diverse in the craft or witchcraft, or several forms of certain type of control or dominion magic. Whereas the voodoo doll can be used for multiple different purposes, even self-care, self-love, self-help, also connection with a person, and several other different things, but you have to be very careful with using it. The poppet will be more masculine energy, the voodoo doll a little bit more feminine energy, and is one of the many tiers of question. As far as the other initial usage for voodoo dolls and of course poppets is to use against your enemy. That is what it's known for, but that's not the only thing you can use them for. Of course, you can use them to connect to your spirit guides, to the spirits, also to help combat third-party interference when there's no cheating and things of that nature. You can combat. Also great for return to sender word, especially on this beautiful Thursday. Friday, Saturday would be better, or Monday, or Wednesday. Also, several other people need to realize several other different features for voodoo dolls versus the poppet. Poppet would be more dangerous. If you are not ordained to handle and deal with a poppet, don't make them familiar, don't mess with the spirits. Because with the poppet, there is a darker magic that goes with that and underline it in history. Versus the voodoo doll, even though it sometimes has darker undertone, it also has a lighter magical undertone as well. Like I said, I always love voodoo dolls. I do like poppets. Never made one, but I love voodoo dolls. Love them. I think they're beautiful. Beautiful. I'm not afraid of poppets. One's more feminine and one's more masculine in magic. Like I said, use a voodoo doll, which I've had someone try to use a voodoo doll on me. You'll feel prick by prick, but it doesn't do anything to me because I'm innocent. Poppet, someone tried to use a poppet on me and died. So like I said, there's a darker undertone. One is from more so the voodoo from the Caribbean, from the islands, from the motherland. Also used in hoodoo here in America, which is Southern magic, and also is used in just a practical form of magic. Also, voodoo dolls can be used for coping tools, especially for those who maybe you're dealing with grief, maybe you're working with a certain type of spirit and things of that nature, or a certain type of ancestor. Also, voodoo dolls, like I said, ancestral. Poppets are more so known culturally, used by certain magical beings and people. So that's also another different thing. We are going to talk about how, and then also how you work with the spirits. Do you work with the crossroads? Are you working with portals? Or what deity and or being or guardian god? What spirit are you working with? What ancestor? What god or goddess? Even though they don't deal with the voodoo dolls and the poppets, they more work directly with those in control of the voodoo doll or poppet. Same thing for the angels; they work directly with us. They don't have to use the voodoo doll or the poppet to communicate with us, but they can use that with the Holy Spirit and things of that nature. They can use it to communicate with us. Like I said, there is a special magic just with the voodoo doll alone, where you have to work with the Spirit, especially the Holy Spirit and God. You have to have God's permission to invoke it. But also you have to have the Holy Spirit permission as well to work with the spirits and other different ancestral things to work with the spirits, different crossroad kings and queens to work with certain spirits, certain things in many ways. You also have several other different things as well to help garner. Also, there's several other hidden information about voodoo dolls versus poppets. Poppets extreme. It also war-based usage and things of that nature for any adversaries. Voodoo doll, same thing. The thing is with the voodoo doll, it's a little bit more on the frequently used altar workings. Like I said, it has more uses than a puppet, just in my opinion for right now. But I do like both. So thank you for watching today's video. Hopefully you have learned a great deal of information for this quick video about voodoo dolls versus puppets. And some of you guys, like I said, have been re-blessed with information and also permission to use certain things. Just always aim to the ways of knowledge first. Don't always pop it. Everything first. Then on voodoo doll first. Get your research together first about the spiritual tools, practice spells that you're using. Nothing wrong with studying and researching. There's nothing wrong with wanting to practice certain things. But take your time with learning the information, learn the ways of doing things. Then you come back in and show you a little notion. So thank you for living the Complex. I love you guys so much. I will see you guys next time.